You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. More than 60 lawyers are asking the Supreme Court to issue a temporary restraining order to stop the implementation of the Anti-Terrorism Law following the bloody police raids last Sunday that left 9 activists killed. The Philippine National Police stands by their bloody raids, insisting these are legitimate police operations. Let's go straight to the source of the story. We have former Bayan Muna Representative Neri Colmenares. Congressman Colmenares, welcome to the source. Let me start already. The police is calling this a legitimate operation. Legitimate, not illegitimate. There was a search warrant on supposedly what was loose firearms and even explosives. They were saying nanlaban po. Tell us the other side of the story.
Well, immediately, Pinky, we can say that that's not really true. And our reading of the situation and from the witnesses themselves. First, the police were already in the house. They have already arrested the activists. They have already acquired control of the area. Then they led the families of the activists out of the house. They forced them out of the house, actually. And then gunshots. So how could the activists have fought back when he or she was already under their control? He or she could not have a gun. There was no gun. I mean, immediately after you arrest the person, the first thing you do is to search the body of the person. I mean, everybody. And then how could he or she have fought back? Because they were under control. In fact, the witnesses said they heard the like Manny Asuncion saying, "I'm also human," you know. So that's the first. Second, they brought the bodies out immediately and led them somewhere without, informing the family where they are. They didn't wait for the SOCO. I mean, there's a death resulting from a quote-unquote legitimate operation.
Right.
And under the rules of engagement of the PNP, and Malacanang knows this, there should be an inquest where there is death resulting from a police operation. Inquest fiscal should come and investigate. They didn't wait for that. And there's already administrative charges against the police for violating their very own rules of engagement. So really questionable this situation, because the witnesses themselves said so. And of course, the fact that 9 activists simultaneously fought back when they were already arrested. There was a witness, Pinky. A child said, "They were dragging my parents out of the house already." And then how could these parents have fought back when the police in numbers, fully armed, controlled them? So yeah, we really think that this was a Tokhang style. This already was reported in various anti-drug operations where the families were led out of the house and then the victim was shot immediately.
So let's talk about that, because you're saying there are witnesses. Can you tell me how many witnesses there are? Because if you listened to, or rather heard, Secretary Guevara, he was saying that he was very disappointed. Sabi po niya, he was very disappointed with what happened dahil magsaserve lang nga daw po sana ng search warrant. Hindi na daw kailangang kumitil pa ng buhay. And he follows that up by saying, are there any witnesses? Secretary Guevara is saying, go to the nearest prosecutor's office of the DOJ.
Yes. Well, there are witnesses, of course, because the activists, of course, the children, the wife were there. All of them, of course, witnessed that. So it's not even a question of are there, but one office, Asuncion, it's an office. So there are people staying there. So there are witnesses, definitely. And this practice also of asking for courts in Metro Manila to serve search warrant in distant provinces. My God, that's really questionable. And the Supreme Court should review this rule.
Yeah,
Why? The Metro Manila judges and the PNP look down on judges in the provinces?
Yeah. But can you help me
Yes.
understand that situation, Kong Neri? Because I did read about that. In the absence of the executive judge, parang the vice executive judge can issue warrants of
Yes.
arrest outside their area of jurisdiction. So ito po
Yes.
yung nangyari ho ba dito? And apparently, if I'm correct, sir, no, then that becomes legal. Ano po?
Yes, well, because there's a rule that allows it. But the issue is, why would the police apply in Metro Manila? Is it easier here? Is it easier to convince judges? Judges here are unthinking. And then secondly, you bring witnesses from distant provinces to Metro Manila. My God, when they apply for ordinary search warrants in their provinces, they apply for it there. But when it comes to activists, they go to selected judges in Metro Manila for this search warrant. If it comes to activists, this has happened before. In Negros, in Oplan sa Oron, it was a Cebu court that issued the search warrant for Negros Oriental. In many cases, Judge Villavert, of course, which was, by the way, another search warrant of Judge Villavert was yesterday also repealed by the court in Metro Manila. The
Right.
court, in Bacolod. The court in Bacolod said the search warrant did not describe with particularly the place to be searched. So it was a general warrant where the police can search anywhere. That's the second time that Judge Villavert's search warrant was voided by other courts.
Yeah, in
So
Bacolod,
really, and that's why, Pinky, just to discuss the issue of search warrant, we're asking the court to intervene now. And the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court should issue a rule that the moment a search warrant results in death, automatic review. All the application itself, which we find very questionable, how judges here in Metro Manila can easily grant a search warrant just because the police say, oh, there's a suspect there with a gun. All the records must be centralized to the Supreme Court for automatic review, so that we can avoid so many deaths. Oplan sa Oron in Negros Oriental, 14 farmers were killed there, Pinky. And then the Tumandok in Iloilo, about 9 of them were killed also, and in Calabarzon. So all these activists and dissenters were killed by just a mere search warrant. Wala silang kaso. You will fight back. You don't even have a case. Walang kaso. It's just a search. And why will, offices, you're red tagging them every time, and then they will store guns in their homes and in their offices? That's really absurd.
Wouldn't they be a little bit more careful? Just
Correct,
hypothetically,
correct.
if that's true.
If you are really an NPA, wala ka na bang bahay na mapaglagyan dito sa mga opisina na nire-red tag, sa mga bahay ng mga aktivistang nire-red tag monthly? That's really absurd. No judge will ever think that.
Okay.
Imagine, in an office of activists, the judge will say, oh yeah, may guns nga dyan, sige, I'll issue a search warrant. What kind of the Constitution requires that it must be issued by a judge upon determination of probable cause with searching questions on the applicant and the witnesses. And if we look at the record, there are many questionable irregularities there, if we can only access these records of applications.
And then you have PNP Chief De Bolsina saying, ang hirap-hirap kumuha ng search warrant, Kong Neri. He was quoted yesterday as saying that napakahirap nga daw kumuha ng search warrant. That's why he says what happened last Sunday, they were legitimate operations. Kung alam lang daw natin kung gaano kahirap ito.
I disagree with that. And secondly, De Bolsinas was the Visayas regional commander when Oplan sa Oron in Negros Oriental that led to the deaths of so many happened 2 years ago. Now it followed him here in Metro Manila because he was transferred here. So you see, there will be cases filed against them. Administrative cases, at least, because of their violation of the rules of engagement. Criminal cases for murder after 2022 when President Duterte is gone. It will be filed, of course, against all these involved in the killings of activists and even drug suspects, for that matter, without giving due process to the victims. But extrajudicial killings is still a crime in the Philippines.
Congressman, who's supposed to investigate this? Because let's get into that other issue wherein you have the Interagency Task Force on extralegal killings. DOJ Secretary Guevara was saying that actually the DOJ USEC was saying they're looking at this between 24 to 48 hours and maaaring pumunta sa PNP or maaaring pumunta sa NBI yung investigation of this case. Depending, I remember Yusek Sugay was saying, depending if these individuals are members of cause-oriented groups or not, which is an argument right now because, you are saying that they're members of cause-oriented groups. And then, of course, the police is saying, we got them, we searched them because they're members of the communist movement with loose firearms and even explosives.
Yes, well, actually, we're good. It's good that the DOJ secretary said he's disappointed, but we no longer see any independence on the part of these investigating committees. Look, thousands have been killed. Drug suspects have been killed since 2016. Lawyers have been killed. Activists have been killed. What was the result? Oh my God, are there really an advancement in all these cases? No. That's why we've always said that the pattern has been established, Pinky, that it's state-sponsored, in our belief, of course. Why? First, the victims were publicly vilified, red tagged, terrorist tagged, before they were killed. Second, brazenness with which these were committed. Imagine so many witnesses in broad daylight sometimes, as if the perpetrator was not afraid at all of being accosted by the police. And thirdly, complete lack of interest to investigate or prosecute on the part of government. So really, we're calling for independent and impartial investigation on this from, say, the CHR, for example. In fact, if the government really believes that it's not involved in its extrajudicial killings, why not allow the International Criminal Court to come in here and investigate? Because we signed the treaty before that the International Criminal Court can investigate in the Philippines if the criminal case, if the accused, like President Duterte, is not being prosecuted. And it's true, President Duterte is not being prosecuted because he's immune from suit. So why not allow the ICC and all the independent UN special rapporteurs, for example?
Okay.
CHR is there. So that's what we're asking. And the Supreme Court, of course. With regards to the judges
we will look
these
into this.
Search warrants.
Yeah, we'll look into this again. As the days progress, I understand that the DOJ is saying within 24 to 48 hours they will have a recommendation. We hope to speak to you again on that. We've run out of time though. Former Bayan Muna Representative Neri Colmenares. Sir, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras.
Maraming salamat po.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.